quiet seaside town, an evil lain to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Tabletop Gold, episode 159. Prime number? What do we think? Let's go around the horn. Armet Humphreys, do you think that 159 is a prime number?
I don't. I bet it's divisible by something like 3.
I think it's divisible by something like 3 also, but it definitely is. But let's see what everybody else thinks. Robin Lange, what do you think? Is 159 a prime number?
No, because 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 9 is, what is that, 15? So
Okay.
It is divisible by 3, I think, by that ruling, by how that works.
Okay. I mean, I don't understand the logic,
This
but I
is
agree
kind
with
of
your
what I
outcome.
remember
David the
from
Tin Man
teaching logical
Chernicoff
math.
is 159 a prime number, David the Tin Man Chernicoff?
Yes, it is.
Okay, interesting. And Zoe Chernicoff, how do you feel? 159 prime, yes or no? Everyone's dying to know.
I'm going to say no because it's even.
Wait, what?
God, all the
Why?
we're covering
Why do
all
you
of our
do
bases.
that?
Somebody here is right.
That's why I said it was prime. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because 2 is prime and 2's even.
That's
So
right.
it stands to follow that.
plus 0 is 2, which is prime.
Right.
So
That's
therefore,
prime.
Plus
it's
1
not
plus
prime.
2 plus 1.
Okay, good. You may notice if you're watching us on video that I'm in a different location than I typically am. That's because I am on vacation. I am not at home right now. I have traveled to another place. And I have been struggling for the last 3 days to think through how to make this recording work. And I think that we kind of did it. I think it's kind of happening. You'll know if you're hearing the words that I'm saying that it did work because that means that we've recorded it and that you're hearing it. If instead you're not hearing this and you're hearing me saying, we recorded it once and it didn't work, then that's how you know that it didn't work this time.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. I want to talk. I've been stressed out. I'm traveling with 2 kids. I'm taking care of a lot of different things at the same time. One of the things that I did on the way out of town was I rented a car.
Sure.
I wanted to talk to you about car rental because the experience is quickly becoming confusing and strange to me. And I was wondering if anybody has experienced any of the things that I'm about to describe.
It's becoming more confusing the more you do it? I'm fascinated.
Just now. The time, our moment in history that we're in right now, I think is a very confusing time to rent a car. I don't want to brag, but at my old job, I had a Hertz Gold membership
Wow.
that they have yet to kick me off of, and so I get discounted rates at Hertz.
Oh my gosh.
I have for the last 5 years now.
Huge if true.
And so the way that it works at Hertz, which is the number 1 car rental company, is my understanding in the world or the country anyway.
So they tell their gold members.
That's what they tell them. And I just, they send me a text message at 3:00 in the morning and I'm like, who the fuck is this?
It's Hertz
And I
again.
look at my phone and it's like, it's Hertz. We're still number 1, right? It's
They love me.
We're thinking of you.
yeah. Hertz.
You up?
You have a great
hurts
service,
not to
but
be
please. It's,
You,
oh no.
you up.
Puns about their own name. Okay. So the way that having a Hertz Gold membership works, in case anybody hasn't had the experience, which why would you?
Everybody hurts sometimes.
Yeah, everybody hurts
Oh.
sometimes. Everybody Alamos sometimes also, is my understanding.
And occasionally budgets.
Everybody budgets sometimes. Okay. So the way that it works is you show up and they tell you like pick any car that you want between like spot number 300 and spot number 312. You walk around, you look at those cars, you take the one that you want, and then you drive away. It's very nice. It's very convenient when it works, or at least it was in the past. Since the pandemic, when these companies all sold their cars, they have replaced them very, very, very slowly. So I find crazy cars when I go into this space now because they just shove anything that they can find into these spots. What happened this time is I had 5 cars to choose from. I could choose from a Dodge Charger, which is like a muscle car and is not a thing I can put 2 child seats into. So that was like immediately out.
Did you even try?
I didn't try. That's a great point. I did not try. I looked at it and I was like, I'm going to get my wife is going to have critical, well-earned critical words
There
for
will
me.
only be 3 people on this trip.
Yeah, we're going to leave a lot of, somebody's getting left behind. It's probably, hopefully going to be me, but that's not how it worked out. The second car that they had was a Nissan Rogue that smelled like cigarettes. This is the car that I wound up taking. I took the cigarette Rogue. And I'm going to tell you, it's been lovely. It's been a great car. Then they had the rest of the 5 cars were 3 copies of the same car, which was a Kia EV6. Are you familiar with the EV6? Let me broaden that question out. Have any of you ever driven an electric vehicle? Because that's what this is. I got in the car, I got ready to drive away, and I was like, I bet you EV stands for electric vehicle. I got out of the car, looked for a gas tank, didn't find one, and I was like, never mind. I don't know how this works. I have to take the Rogue instead. Have any of you ever driven an electric vehicle? Like a car that you have to plug in to charge it?
Only as a rental car.
I've ridden in
Interestingly.
one.
So as a rental car, can you tell me how that happened?
I did it intentionally about this time last year because I was going to Southern California for a wedding, and I thought to myself, if not Southern California, like I sort of thought it would be more operational. I learned some things, but we don't need to totally derail on that. One thing I learned though briefly is that if you're not charging at home, and you don't think about what electric vehicle you get, they charge very slowly. I didn't get a Tesla. Tesla is my understanding you don't have this problem.
Really?
The community meters charge just so slowly.
Here's the calculation that I did upon getting in this car. I had to ask myself, do I have any idea how to charge this thing up? And I came up with the answer, no. I have no idea where to go or what to do to plug this thing in. Then I looked at the range of it, and the range was about 75% of the distance that I needed to drive on that day.
Yeah.
Then I looked at how long it took to charge, and it said at the slowest rates, it takes 24 hours to charge.
Yes.
So I quickly envisioned myself at the side of the road on like the Jersey Turnpike for 12 hours with a 1.5-year-old and a 4-year-old. Like,
Yeah,
it seemed like a terrible option.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And they're just putting these cars. They're not handing me a pamphlet being like electric vehicles and you. Here's what you need to know if you want to rent. They're just like, it felt like they were hoping I wouldn't notice that it was an electric vehicle. It felt like they were just saying to me like, he's gonna leave. He's gonna figure it out once he's signed the contract and left the parking lot.
And then it's his
Do you know
problem.
what I mean?
Yes.
I do.
Looking at pictures of it, though, it's a very handsome car. It has nice lines. Like,
It's a handsome car with nice lines, and I believe that they have been sitting at that Hertz parking lot since the day they were put there.
This explains the EV shortage.
David, what is your feeling on this?
I'm afraid my feeling on it won't be interesting because it's the same as the feeling that I have about everything else, which is that it's a fucking outrage. Like,
Counterpoint.
Of course, we've managed to build something where the most positive development in this sector, which is that there are now like lower emission vehicles available, is coupled with it having been denuded of anything that would keep that from screwing you over. Like,
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
you're just being led off a cliff. There's no one to interact with about it. There's no documentation or indication that this is what's happening to you. It's just the skids have been greased so that you can slide right out into the world with two children and a dead battery. And the only thing that's keeping that from happening to you at all times is the paranoia that keeps you anxious and awake at night. Like, that is all you have left.
This is such like a good thing to think about. Like, we've talked about getting an electric car eventually. Of course, to do that, it also means we need to update all the electrics in the house so that we could then install a charging station in our house.
Yeah.
Like there's
Oh.
so many things to think about with that. But then
Yeah.
also just being able like, can we drive to Maine in a day? No?
You can't.
Maybe we stay with the hybrid then.
The hybrid, I think, is roughly, based on my calculations, half as good as the electric. So I think you're fine.
Or half as bad as the electric.
Yeah,
half as bad as the electric.
It combines all of the
Have
bad
fun.
things about all the other types of cars.
But with just
So
as much
it's the perfect
smugness.
combination. That exactly. Let's move on to our game. Before we do that, I just want to say, if you're listening to this on a podcast app that has ratings or reviews on it, please leave us a rating or review. It really helps us out a lot. It helps us get in front of new people who will have opinions about electric vehicles potentially. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave us a like, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you would. Thank you so much. And guess what? We've done it, and now it's time for us to play our game. 2 nights ago, you got the chance to meet the members of the squad sent by the city of Absalom to respond to the threat here in the dungeons below Gauntlet. During that evening at the Rowdy Rockfish Tavern, Ao got the chance to speak at some length with Bertie Graham, the medic accompanying the Starwatch officers, and found in her a friendly and insightful spirit. Of course, the morning after that, the Starwatch squad went to the dungeon without you, disaster struck, and the squad scattered into the murky lake deep underground. All the squad members you have found so far have been dead, done in by the natural dangers of the swamp. But now, the work you've put into recovering the members of the Starwatch squad has finally paid off. After a hard-won battle with a group of sadistic undead known as Bodaks, you've found Bertie Graham. She's drained, she's badly injured, but she's alive. 3 members of the Starwatch squad are still missing. The Grunt, Torpor Wedge, the magic user, Bevrin Dralfo, the captain, Margot Jensen, and also your friend from the Otari Town Guard, Mark.
Can I say about Bodaks? I think they're super cool, and I actually had a chance to run one in our Sunday game. But it also sounds like something that Pauly Shore would have said in a movie.
Oh, Bodak.
It's so Bodak, buddy.
What are Pauly Shore's hits? Do we like Son-in-Law here? Are we Son-in-Law fans up in here? Because I feel like that's a real dividing line for people.
I have never seen a Pauly Shore movie.
Same.
I think same, actually.
I think I vaguely enjoyed the one where they were in like
Biodome?
the biodome. There we go. Biodome.
I think that's
You
the
got
one
it.
I saw once,
Yeah.
very vaguely.
I think vague enjoyment is the appropriate response to Biodome. I think that you've nailed it.
It was fine.
Speaking of things that you've
I
nailed,
wasn't mad.
we're picking up right at the end of this combat. Bertie is passed out in one of these caves. There are 4 caves in front of you, each of them set about 10 feet above the surface of the water. Everybody in the party is in the rowboat with the exception of Trill. Trill has been swimming for the last few seconds. Before we pick anything up, I want to give you some experience points. 60 experience points for your interaction with Gorsalthith, the child of Belcora, who is attempting to ascend. 120 experience points for the encounter with the Bodaks, and then 10 experience points for locating Bertie.
What was the one for the encounter?
20. So it's a total of
120.
60, 120, 10.
It's 190.
400?
It's 190, yeah.
Also prime.
Prime, yeah.
Wait,
And
more
our-
than
Not even
190.
though.
I believe our new total is 520. Does that sound right to everybody?
What if we're
Sounds
counting
right.
the last one as 400?
30, 60, 120, and 10 was what we were adding. Lars?
60, 120, and 10.
Wasn't there a
Thought it was
30 in there?
5 plus 1 plus 9.
Where did I get
60.
the number 30 from?
120.
159.
1 plus
10.
1 plus 2
See,
plus
this
1.
is why a lot of
Divided
podcasts
by-
don't do experience points.
So we're, but what was that? What are we at? 590?
520, I think.
520.
The 60 plus the 120 puts you up to 510, and then another 10 puts you to 520.
Okay.
And then the
What is
30 gets you to
current?
550.
Are we at
'Cause I think we
550?
were at 330.
Was there a
There's
30
no
in there?
30. Stop it. There's no 30.
Why did I write down the number 30 then, Lars?
I
Explain
probably
that to
said
me.
it wrong.
I'm certain.
I think we
that you did.
started at 330, so maybe that's the 30 you're thinking of?
I
Maybe.
didn't know that though.
I wrote
I
down
don't
a-
know what's happening.
bunch
I'm
of
on
numbers.
vacation.
You gave us 3 things we got experience points for, right?
60, 120, and 10.
Okay.
520.
Okay.
It's 520.
We're more
It's
than halfway there,
520.
guys.
There it is.
We're
Yeah,
more than
that's
halfway there.
Okay. So Ao is still disguised as Belcora for the next 40 minutes, 30 minutes or so. A number of you are drained. A number of you have the doomed condition. As soon as the last of these Bodaks dies, that doomed condition washes away. But the drained condition sticks around. Trill and Ao are both drained. Ao is wearing this magical disguise as Belcora Haravex, and Birdie has just passed out on the floor of the cave. I want to get a sense from Zoe how Ao is feeling in this moment, seeing Birdie here.
I think really depleted, but a little bit triumphant. Like this got, I think, harder than anyone wanted it to be. She's developed this sort of kinship with Birdie, and I think she's eager to get over there and make sure she can do whatever she can to help her, which is to say wrap her in lots and lots of gauze.
More gauze than Birdie thought she ever needed.
I think it would be pretty easy for Ao to swim and climb up the cave if that's something that she wants to do.
Birdie, stay with us. And as she is swimming through the water, she she takes off her Belcora disguise early and arrives at the shore as herself and clambers up the ledge.
As you climb up the ledge, you get a closer look at Birdie. You from a distance got the sense that Birdie had been pretty badly drained. That is confirmed by you getting up close and personal with her as you look her over. Her breath is shallow. Her face is sunken in. She's a Gripply. She's like a slender, short, she's about 2.5 feet tall frog creature. She looks like she has been suffering for some time. When you met her at this meeting with the Star Watch, she was friendly, she was gregarious. You can still see that that's still her. She's still the same person, but she looks like she has been through an ordeal. One thing that Ao notices as she's closer to Birdie is that her uniform is a little bit different from the other members of the Star Watch. You can see that she doesn't have like the same insignia, the same showing of rank that a lot of the members of the Star Watch have. You almost get the sense that she's like a civilian, like she's an EMT who was assigned to the Star Watch, found employment accompanying the Star Watch rather than being an officer in her own right. As Ao climbs up next to her, she stirs for a moment, and she opens her eyes and looks up at Ao and says, "Ao, I thought that was you. I'm sorry. Thank you." And she sort of breathes heavily for a second, and she says, I was sure that I would die. But here you are. I was sure you would die. And here you are." She sort of pushes herself up to a sitting position, and she shouts out to the rest of you, sort of weakly. She shouts out, "Erastil has smiled on all of us today." And she gives you kind of a weak grin and slumps against the wall of this cave, pulls out a holy symbol of Erastil. The stag, the elk god of hunting and the wilderness and nature and so on. And she like kisses this stag figurine and just sort of rests against the side of the cave, trying to catch her breath.
Trill touches her hunter's brooch as she sees Birdie do this.
Birdie, we're gonna be okay. I got you. Ao says, putting a hand on her chest to make sure her little frog heart is still beating, however many chambers a frog heart has. And she starts trying to treat wounds to get her some more strength. What, Lars, does one do to get rid of the drained condition?
So the drained condition, and I'm going to sort of like break outside of the, I'm going to break outside of game rules for a second. I'll give you two answers. The drained condition is alleviated by getting rest. Every night you get a night's sleep, the drained condition goes down by 1.
Oh, wow.
After
so it
a
takes
night's
a while.
sleep, it totally does. It's one of the like long-lasting conditions in the game. And just to let you know broadly what drained does, it essentially lowers your constitution by 1.
Okay.
Any checks involving constitution go down. Your hit point maximum goes down. So that's what Ao and Trill are suffering from right now. There are like higher level restoration spells like the ones that we've talked about on this very podcast that can reduce the drained condition or counteract it, get rid of it entirely. But I'm just going to give you my opinion. The drained condition as it exists, I think, is more there to hinder player characters and like the monsters that they're fighting. So I'm telling you that Birdie has the drain condition as a shorthand, but you get the sense that even if you were to hit her with magical healing and reduce that condition, she's been through something that's going to take her a number of days to recover from. Like the full state of everything she's gone through and what she needs is not encompassed within the conditions that are on her character, if you get what I mean.
Gotcha. So basically, or I think as Ao assesses this, her goal becomes to kind of get Birdie as stable and strong as she can, given that sometimes when we're bringing people who are ill out of this dungeon, bad things happen to us, and we want her to have a touch more resolve than she might otherwise.
For sure. And I think alleviating her drain condition will help with that.
Great.
I think also just a basic trying to treat her wounds, I think will help her a little bit as well to recover some of the hit points that she is down.
Well, let's do one round of treat wounds and sort of see what that does. I think if she's figuring things out, she's like, I got you, Birdie. I got you. Stay with us.
Great.
We're in this together.
And she's sort of labored breath.
That's 23 points of healing.
Okay. And you can give that healing as long as we're doing treat wounds. You can give that healing to, because you're a master of healing, you can give that healing to, or master of medicine. You can give that to 4 people.
Trill definitely needs some healing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to make you say I'm a master of medicine again, but I'll spare everyone. Okay. So Birdie gets it. Ao takes some herself, having taken some hits. It goes to Trill, and then it looks like Mag is the closest, but if we go again, we'll throw some love to us then.
Great.
No, it's fine. I'm fine.
Every time you
3,
say
by
that, you
the way.
bleed out your eyeballs. Hang in there.
3, by the way. A frog heart has 3 chambers, 2
3
atria and 1 ventricle.
Right.
Just
right.
assumed.
She looks at Trill. How does he know that? She mouths.
Can I roll Swamp Lore to fact check Iston?
Yeah, please. I
There
would
we
actually,
go.
I would love it if you
Thank
could do that.
David.
Here we go. Giving it to you blind.
Oh, give it to me blind. Oh, yeah. Iston is definitely within 1, it seems, for the number of chambers in a heart
Okay.
of a frog.
Mag
So he's
nod-
close. He's
yeah.
in the ballpark.
Mag nods to herself approvingly.
Birdie, as she's getting these wounds treated, it seems like it's helping her out a little bit, and she seems like she's willing to talk. She looks at Ao and she says, "Those creatures, were those Bodaks? Is that what they were?"
Yes. They were so hopeless, but so strong.
I didn't think that we should do it. I want you to know I'm so sorry for. I thought that I didn't know that you weren't coming with us until I met up and you weren't there. Captain Jensen doesn't always loop people in with what it is that we're doing, so I've been here. Feels like we got down here, and a few moments later, the squad was fighting those little gnome things?
Bog mummies.
They were at some point.
Bog mummies. Right. a will-o-wisp came by. They fought that off. And
Wait, the bog mummies or the Star Watch fought off the wisp?
the Star Watch.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Antecedents matter.
I know I'm really overzealous with pronouns. I need to stop.
You're very sick. It's fine.
Yeah, you're tired.
I'm drained for.
Train for
Wow.
is a real ordeal.
30 Graham should use nouns.
So the Star Watch, they
Yeah, so-
fought the bog mummies?
So they fought the mummies, wisps. It was crazy. They jumped off this elevator. They're, doing their typical thing, like they're checking the corners, like sizing up the area, and then suddenly, the ghost of, I'm sure it was Belcora Haravex herself. She showed up, and the moment that she saw the eye of Eridan on the uniforms, she started screaming about Absalom and how Absalom will get its day. It channeled into something so dark, so bleak within her. She hit us with some kind of crazy magic. Captain Jensen, Lieutenant Dralfo jump in the water and they swam to the west. I didn't know what was going on. I just followed after them. Samandra, Corporal Vix, jumped to start swimming. She slipped and she fell and she cracked her head open on the dock. And as I was swimming for my life, following Captain Jensen and Beveren, I saw Colton Marabi, Lieutenant Marabi, and the other guy, what's his name, Torpor Wedge, went swimming off to the east. The next thing I knew, I saw this cave. I climbed up, took shelter, and then, just as my wits were coming back about me, that's when those creatures started crawling into the cave, one by one, searing me with those eyes, and then crawling away, just over and over again. It was like they were enjoying letting me feel like I was getting stronger and then draining everything out of me again. I must have been here for a day or so before you came by. Is that possible?
Day and a half.
The Bodak, there were Bodaks?
You've been very strong. You're very tired. Trill, is there anything you can do to get her down to drained 3?
I know Birdie is hurting, but I think we have more of a chance to let Birdie recover above ground than to use this one scroll right now. I feel like we may, maybe not regret, but certainly rue it.
What is the difference between regret and ruing?
Poetry.
And Ao sort of like cocks her head to the side. It's not clear she totally agrees, but like she mostly wants to try and get Birdie out of there. Is there any sort of like, is it worth her doing a medicine check to see if like there's any, like Birdie appears on my screen as a human being not living in this world to be fully healed. She's just drained. But like, does Ao get the sense there's anything else she could do aside from the drained situation to give her one more boost to help her get out of there?
Yeah, I don't think so. In terms of her hit points, you're absolutely right. Like mechanically, she's about as ready to go as she's gonna be.
Does Mag have any sort of like, didn't Mag have like a little oxygen something for swimming? Am I forgetting this?
I have a thing of bottled air in the bag of holding.
Like, could we stick Birdie in the bag of holding with a bottled air to get her out, to give her a little longer, just to like protect her?
That's so smart.
I love
That's
that.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's so good. How long
That's
does bottled air
so
last?
Good.
Mag, do you have any Any space under G for Gripply in the bag?
Mag nods. The bottled air is a limitless supply of fresh air.
Oh, that's handy.
It is also worth 320 gold pieces. So there's that.
Does it keep, like, it's limitless, so if she uses it for 10 minutes, it doesn't...
Yeah, it's not a consumable. It just
No.
sticks around.
That's
it's
amazing.
Awesome.
Wow.
It's so good.
That's really good.
You draw a
It's
breath of
really
air from the
good.
bottle. This allows you to breathe. Even in an airless or toxic environment, air doesn't escape the mouth of the bottle, so leaving the open bottle in an airless environment doesn't change the environment.
Wow.
Yeah, you just activate it, and then you can breathe,
The permanent inhaler.
I guess, permanently?
Yeah.
I'm going to start taking naps in the...
Yeah, this is
Hold on.
great. This is...
Sounds amazing.
you gotta
It's like my
remember to
CPAP.
Take breaths out of it.
So we need to get 1,300 gold so that each of us can have one of these and just never have any breathing problems from now on.
Yep.
Love it.
It's me, the
Strap
bog
it
mummy
here.
with the air.
As everyone's kind of thinking how to get Birdie out of the situation, Trill suddenly goes,
Wait, Birdie, you mentioned where all of the Star Watch was. Where did Mark go?
He seems like a smart kid. He probably didn't follow Marabi. He must have gone to the west.
With Margot and Beverin.
Yeah, Beverin.
So, sorry, what we're solving for is that she's too weak to swim? Because I can carry her around.
Mostly just to, like, protect her so that if we get in a fight or something, she's not a target who then I guess there's always a chance someone, like, hits the bag of holding. But my idea is sort of like, she's in a bad state. If we could kind of swaddle her up, get her in the bag of holding, then if we encounter anything bad, like, they'd attack us.
have we asked Birdie if she feels like she could travel with us or if she needs to go back above ground?
Birdie, I have a great plan. We have this air, and Mag has a really well-organized bag. You know what, Mag? Put the C chair, the best chair in the world. Can you put that in G for Gripply? And Birdie, there's the best chair in the whole world.
Ayo. I know all about the bag. I read the notes. I know everything about the bag. Bag gave us copious notes describing the contents of the bag and also the layout of this horrible place. I would love to go in the chair. I've been hoping to go in that chair for quite some time. As
Perfect.
those Bodax, those things were tormenting me, I would think about that chair.
So you want to go in the bag?
Please let me go in the bag.
Ao's beckoning Mag over. Mag, C for chair and G for Gripply.
And don't forget B for bottle of air?
There's no reason to move all of these things between categories. She could just sit in the chair. You could just give her.
I'm too weak to argue with them effectively, but yes, that's what I wanted.
Well, Mag holds open the bag of holding enough for her to, pardon the pun, hop in.
Ooh.
And she slowly and carefully opens and climbs in, grabs this bottle of air and puts it in her mouth, and she says, "Okay, please don't leave me in here for too long." And she disappears inside of the bag of holding.
Oh, well, let me go ahead and click that we are using, looks like about 10% of our net worth.
It doesn't use it.
Yeah.
It doesn't use it.
Oh, more than one of us can use it?
It's
Where
not a
Yeah.
consumable. It's just like a permanent supply
You
of...
just hang out and you suck on it. It's awesome.
And then the next person uses it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Take
you
a
probably have to
toke, pass
wipe
it
it
round.
off, probably.
It's
Yeah.
limitless.
I see. Do we have any?
Right, we need disinfectant.
Yeah, do we have any wipes in here? Oh my God, Mag,
You
how have you been walking around for this many months in a row with no wipes in the bag?
Probably would have saved on bedrolls, honestly.
Yeah.
No, you could tell Mag doesn't have kids. All right. So, Yeah, and Mag reaches briefly. She still has one. She has like been holding it open, and then she briefly reaches one arm in up to the shoulder, and then quickly ducks her head in, and you can tell she's kind of moving things around, and she's rearranging stuff to create a little bit more room inside around the chair. Maybe there's a wooden trunk that's got all of these potions in it. She's set up as a footstool.
So Birdie's in the bag. Trill and Ao are. I'm seeing that they're in this cave, and it looks like Istin and Mag are in the rowboat. Did Istin want to get some healing before you moved on? Is that something you wanted to do, or do you just want to push forward?
I mean, it wouldn't be terrible if he got some, but if we just want to push forward, I could probably manage.
Istin, we need everyone to be strong getting out of here. Hang on. And Ao's going to treat wounds on him. Maybe while she's doing that, folks could poke around and, like, if it's easy, sort of, we have to wait 10 minutes anyways, could poke in some of these other crevices.
And I think maybe just to be, complete, Mag would climb up onto these other 2 platforms that we've seen, they're sitting 10 feet above the lake, and do a quick check around for any items up there as well.
So all of you leave the rowboat in the river and start investigating around. Mag finds on her search, as everybody else is getting this extra little bit of healing from Ao, some interesting items here.
Love
They're
interesting items.
sort of scattered around the cave. First thing that Mag finds is a sack. The sack has a bunch of gold in it, a couple of platinum pieces, and she also finds like a strange looking pair of glasses almost.
Ooh.
She also finds at the back of the cave there's like a beautiful looking staff that catches Mag's eye. There's like just a little glint on it. And
A staff, you say?
she also finds
Mag's finding everything.
a really nice looking sword that has been sort of wedged into a crack in the back of the cave. Mag knows swords well enough to know that this is a +1 striking short sword without spending any time identifying it. All of these things are just sort of loosely in a disorganized way kept in this cave that was inhabited by this Bodak.
Is it only a matter of time for Mag to identify the eyewear, or is it like, does it appear magical
it's
in
a check,
nature?
yeah.
Such that.
Yeah, it's going to be, yeah. And this also, this eyewear, I'll give you a little bit of extra as Mag is sort of looking at it and rolling it over in her hands. This looks like one of the nicest pieces of magical equipment you have found. They seem meticulously crafted, and the magical, you can just tell. You have like an intuitive sense that these are extremely nice.
Yeah.
So Trill pokes her head around and shouts out to Mag,
What'd you find there? You need any help?
I do. I know what this is. And she hefts the short sword for a minute before stashing it back in the bag of holding.
Ooh.
But this I couldn't say. She holds up the glasses.
The Trill kind of scuttles around the side to get into the cave that Mag's in, to take a look at these glasses.
These are nice looking.
Ooh, is that a staff? I know I've got one new staff, but, 2 is more than 1.
Here's what I feel like you're describing. Mag is in this cave all by herself, mentions 2 magical items, and then suddenly the 2 of you, like 3 stooges, look your way across the edge of the cave in to be like, yoink.
That's
I
exactly
feel
how I
like-
pictured it too. Thank you.
Okay, good. That's what I thought.
Istin's is also the lowest head as the 3 heads.
Trill's just standing
Okay.
on Istin.
Yeah.
I imagine Istin actually carries her around on his back.
Right, and Mag is just very patiently giving these items out one at a time as everybody appears, like handing out popsicles to a bunch of kids.
To a bunch of vultures.
So anybody who wants to identify this, each identification check is 10 minutes. So that's going to be 10 more minutes of Birdie in the bag.
Birdie can be in there indefinitely because of the bottled air, right?
Like if she naps, does that lessen her condition?
It takes something. There are specific rules for it. It's like 8 hours of sleep. So you could identify magic items all day long if you want to.
Trill wants to identify the glasses.
Istin will do the staff.
You can do any of the magical checks if you'd like to, either Arcana, Nature, Religion, or Occultism,
Occultism.
for the glasses. So yeah, you can go ahead and roll Occultism. Okay, so Trill gets a sense of what these glasses are. I will tell you that in just a moment, but let me also get this check from Istin for the staff.
God, I really hope this wasn't a nat one again. Like with that wand.
Okay.
It wasn't a wand
So
at all.
That was such a good head fake on that wand.
So good, Lars. Don't do it again. Don't do it again.
So Trill identifies this item as something called the Eyes of the Eagle. These are amber lenses that clamp very tightly over your eyes that give you low light vision and also a +2 item bonus to perception checks that involve sight, which would be basically like any initiative check, right? Like these are good.
As she puts them on, does she notice? Like, does everything appear amber in color?
Everything gets sharper. It's like when you're at the eye doctor and they flip the thing over and like, what's better, A or B? And you suddenly, on B, you realize that you are seeing things more clearly than you even knew was possible.
There's so many colors. Does anyone else want to try this thing? This is cool.
Yeah, Mag puts them on.
They immediately help Mag also. Like these are incredible.
Can they be worn with rage glasses?
Asking the incisive questions.
Mag very briefly allows like a little trickle of rage to just to see what that's like. And everything in her vision fizzles just a little bit, and she takes them back off, hands them to Istin.
Wow. Look at my hand. I've never seen my hand look like this. It looks so good. That's a good hand. I'm so glad I have this hand. Do you want to try? Ew. And he takes them off and hands them to Ew.
And she continues sort of wrapping the last of his arm with gauze and sticks them on her eyes and looks around.
Look at my hand.
That is a good hand.
Right?
So who needs the boost to perception, essentially?
It doesn't make sense for it to be me. I'm always wanting to wait to get.
Well, maybe so Istin, because
buff.
Istin's usually looking. Is Istin looking for traps usually, or is that AO?
It's
Oh.
AO.
AO does it
Often.
also. I have a
Yeah.
15 perception, so I don't
Mama.
need
Oh.
it, but it would make me.
Let's give it
Unstoppable.
to you and
How will they work with disguises, Lars? I'm like I'm a Grothlet, but with yellow goggles and a red hat.
I think that disguises cover it up. I think
I
it's
love that.
you do if that's how you want to do it. I think it's
All
great.
right. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll
Like
just,
it,
We'll
okay.
just figure it out. Okay. So she's like, "Hi, hold on," and she like reaches in her pocket and pulls out a random assortment of teeth, and she's like, "Good hand, good teeth," and she like sticks those back around, and then she's looking. She's like, "Okay, anything else to look at? We got Birdie in there. Eyes on the prize."
We still have the staff.
Yes, and this staff Istin recognizes is a greater staff of healing. This staff is going to be extremely helpful, potentially. So this staff has on it the following spells. As a cantrip, it has Stabilize, which is nice. First level, heal. First rank, heal. Second rank, Clear Mind, heal, and Sound Body. Third rank, Cleanse Affliction, and heal. So this will help you get rid of curses, mental effects, those kinds of things.
I like that more than necromancy.
It's sort of the opposite of necromancy.
Is
It's
Yeah.
sort of
heal only on the divine and primal list? I don't think it's on
yes.
the occult list.
Yeah, but the
so you wouldn't be able to use it for healing.
the heal and the stabilized Trill can't use, but the Clear Mind, Sound Body, and Cleanse Affliction,
Yeah.
because those are the ones that like we really I think need at this level. That's cool.
So that's what you find, and I just want to pick up the scene as you take stock of what this treasure is. The birdie is in the bag. The rowboat is waiting for you. What are the next steps?
Should we keep going to the west to look for Mark? And, also Margot and Bevan.
I guess I don't like the idea of waiting too long. I know she's safe, but maybe just a little further.
Mag concurs. Mag will get back into the rowboat and help everybody else to get in.
Who's getting in the rowboat last?
Somehow I imagine she puts her hands up for Trill last, but that's just in my head. Like we all get positioned and then Trill's the least likely to affect the balance. So now, Mag, they do the lift.
I like that.
Okay. As Mag starts lifting Trill into the boat, Trill feels something sort of weird at her feet.
Mm.
Like there's something in the water that's sort of swimming around her.
I think there's something in the water swimming around me.
Mag would then pull her up, not as gingerly, not as worried about the balance. And do we lose any ballast points for that?
So Mag pulls Trill up into the boat and sees that Trill's body, as she is getting pulled up, is covered with enormous looking
Candies?
leeches.
Oh,
Oh.
no.
Leech
that's
swarm.
Why does
Roll
it
for
always
initiative.
happen to Trill?
Gross. I love it.
Can I roll disgust for initiative?
Zoe, how did Ayo do on this initiative roll?
Ayo, I guess, is feeling proud of herself and she's on a mission. That was a 25.
25, really good, really fast. That sounds good. How did Armet, how did Istin do?
Okay, better than average. He got an 11 for 23, so not quite on Ayo's level, but he had his Wheaties this morning.
Everyone seems to be ready for these leeches. I guess you know that there are bad things here in this swamp and you're prepared for them. How did Trill do?
Well, Trill looked down at her legs and started screaming. So
Yes.
first off, she would do her battle cry. So she's going to battle cry at these, and possibly the most I think just loud, grossed out scream that has some sort of musicality to it.
Okay, great. Give me that performance check because you're using versatile performance.
Yep. So it was a 28.
And you get the impression that this has no effect on the swarm because swarms have the swarm mind trait.
Right.
You can't scare one leech so badly that the rest of the swarm
Right.
is affected by it.
Swarm.
So that
There we
gets you
go.
nowhere.
I like this. This is
And
reminding us of the swarm rules right away.
Of course.
And,
no problem.
As she remembers that she can't scare a swarm, her scream turns into more of a cry, and she rolls a 1.
Oh.
Oh, no.
That's 16.
Okay, 16 initiative. And David, how did Mag do?
It's only a 22 for Mag. It's too many things. Lifting Trill, trying to balance her own weight on the boat, holding on to an oar, I imagine, with the other hand. So she's a little non-mechanically flat-footed.
This swarm that I rolled initiative for got an 18 on the die and got a 27.
Okay.
So the swarm wraps itself around Trill and then climbs further into the boat. So it is also covering Mag as well. So Mag and Trill are covered with all of these leeches, just one after the other, biting over and over again. This is a real simple one. You don't even get a save against this. Trill and Mag get bitten and start taking a d6 of bleed damage each.
Cool.
And you are exposed to a venom, and I need both of you to make this fortitude save.
Her fortitude's so bad.
Oh, glad we healed.
How did Mag do?
33.
It's a critical success. Mag is fine. How did Trill do?
Trill's fortitude is terrible, especially because she's drained too, but she rolled a 19, so 28.
Okay, so you pass, and these leeches start biting at you again, and I would need you both to make that fortitude save one more time. You also continue taking bleed damage, but bleed damage doesn't stack, so it's not a big deal. Okay, how did you do that time?
Trill rolled a 19 again, so 28 again. Phew.
Okay. A much lower roll for Mag, only a 24, but I have this barbarian feat that rounds my success up into a crit success for fortitude saves.
It's a good feat.
That
Great.
is so good.
Yes, it is.
As that happens, another swarm appears on the western side of the boat.
This one.
This one rolled a 20 on its initiative. I just forgot to have it go until now. It climbs on top of it. So you look down on the side of the boat and you see these leeches just climb up the side of the boat, and they are sticking to Ao's head and Isthan's head. And you both take 2d6 of bleed damage, which I will put on your tokens right now. Or I'll put them on the leeches by mistake, of course. That's always a possibility.
No, give that swarm some bleed damage,
Give
baby.
that to them. Hey, the leech is in its own space. Why wouldn't it take the bleed damage, right? Like it doesn't make sense, everybody.
Logic.
Yeah.
And I need you to make this fortitude save as well.
27 for AO.
Isthan got a 31.
Okay, and they just keep biting you. More biting, more bleeding. All of you are bleeding now. These leeches are just feasting upon your blood. More fortitude saves as this venom continues to permeate your bodies.
That one's a 19 for AO.
21 for Isthan.
Okay, Ao feels this poison enter her bloodstream, and she becomes clumsy, sickened, and feels like her arms and legs are stiffening up, like she's not able to move.
Oh,
So you take a
Yikes.
5-foot status penalty to your speeds for a round.
Who needs to go anywhere when you're being swarmed by leeches? Am I right?
I think I think you desperately need to go places. I think it's very important. Okay, so you are at stage 1 of this venom, and there we go. Okay. With all of that leech business out of the way, it is now Ao's turn. Ao, covered with leeches, is going to have to do something to get rid of all these leeches.
Quick question. Since there are no leeches going between our turns, do people want to wait to let Trill go first and do some
Yep.
Courageous Anthem?
Yeah, I feel good about
Happy
that.
to delay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so Trill's going to absolutely lingering comp into Courageous Anthem. So let's see how that goes. That is a 31.
That's a success, meaning that you get 3 rounds of Courageous Anthem and you spend a focus point.
Fabulous. And then Trill runs through her memory to remember the last time they fought a swarm. And Trill is pretty sure that they are weak to splash damage.
Yeah.
So Trill's
Yeah,
gonna...
that's in the rules for swarms. That's just
Yeah.
like every
Right, okay,
swarm
it's just
is weak
swarms,
to
right, it's just
area,
rules, yeah.
tends to be weak to area and splash damage.
So Trill's gonna go ahead and target the one that's on her. Basically, everyone's gonna get this, unfortunately, but we gotta get these things gone.
Yeah. Feel free.
And Trill's going to cast Caustic Blast.
Oh.
Okay, so this caustic blast, this blob of acid manifests on top of the leech. I'm going to say that enough of these leeches are not in the water because they are on the boat that resistance to acid is not going to, they're not going to benefit from that. So they make a reflex save. They try to dodge out of the way of this thing. They roll a 13 on their die, which gives them a 24.
That's a failure.
Okay, let's see this
We
damage.
had to beat a 26, baby. So that is 15 points of damage. That ain't nothing.
15 points of damage. Definitely ain't nothing. They take more damage than that. They take more damage than 15 as this acid seeps away at them and these leeches just start getting burned away by this acid.
Good to know.
End of Trill's turn, so she's got to roll her persistent damage, right?
Yes, she needs to take 2d6 acid damage or bleed damage and needs to see if she is done bleeding by making a flat check to try to beat a 15.
So that was 8 points of damage. And then
Okay.
it says roll a recovery check, so I'm assuming that's
Yep.
the DC 15. It was a 14. So close.
Okay. Trill continues to bleed. It is now somebody else's turn. I have AO up next, but anybody else can go if they want to.
I think Ao's going to fall back and go either third or fourth.
Okay, as Ao delays her turn, she has to take that bleed damage now just because of the way that delay doesn't keep you from taking damage. So you're going to take 2d6 bleed damage. How much do you take, Zoe?
I take 8.
So you take 8 damage and you can roll that recovery check now. Try to beat a 15 on a flat check.
How about a 6?
How about a 6? So if Mag wants to go next, that means that Istin is also delaying, so Istin also needs to take that bleed damage.
Okay. That looks like 6.
And you also have to make that flat check.
How does an 8 sound?
Sounds good to me. You're still bleeding. Okay, it is now Mag's turn. What is Mag going to do on her turn?
Well, first she's got to draw a weapon.
Oh, because you were helping Trill up. Yeah.
Because I was helping Trill up. So I rage as a free action.
For free.
Because they fixed the game. And then I guess putting Trill down would also be a free action.
I'm fine with Trill being in the boat. It's okay.
So Mag will draw the Earthbreaker with action number 1, and then we'll make a strike on the swarm that is swarming herself and Trill. Ooh, that was nearly a pretty big roll. It's a 23.
That hits.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
these things are easy to hit.
Yes, they are. Here's some Earthbreaker damage. 18 points of damage.
Okay. You see that they resist a little bit of that. It seems like trying to squish these things, bludgeoning them is okay, but not all of it is getting through.
All right. And so it's still there. So let's try and finish the job. And that one is another miserable roll. Only a 17. You said it's episode 159. Am I remembering that right?
It is. It is. We are in use it or lose it territory. It's true.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to use it so that I don't
Okay, good
lose
choice.
it. 22 to hit.
That hits.
Okay. Come on, baby. 16 more points of damage. Is that enough?
That's enough. Mag reaches out her Earthbreaker and squishes the last of these leeches.
All right.
Oh, thank you, Mag.
So at the end of Mag's turn, you got to take this bleed damage.
It looks like 8. 8 damage.
Okay, so you take 8 damage and now you have to make a flat check, beat a 15.
7.
Okay, still bleeding, and now it is Isthin's turn. Isthin is covered with leeches and is bleeding, and it's not good. What is Isthin going to do?
First, he's going to shriek and go, this is so gross! And then, that's a flavor shriek, by the way, not like Trill's battle cry. His
Totally.
shrieks
Noted.
carry no mechanical import at all. He's going to cast Scatter Scree and just basically using the closest wall of the canyon near one of the caves. He's going to cast and just like the wall explodes, sending a 10-foot line of sharpened bludgeoning rocks into the tail end of this swarm, hitting them with area damage.
Rocks fall, everybody dies.
So let's see. They have to make a DC 24 reflex save to save against 13 bludgeoning.
Okay, here comes the reflex save as the leeches try to dodge out of the way. Very good roll, the 24.
That is a success, I believe, unfortunately.
That was bludgeoning damage. So they resist a little bit of bludgeoning damage. They're weak to the area damage. So they take, I'll just let you know, they take a total of 9 damage because they succeeded in their save. They're weak to the damage in one way. They're resistant to the damage in another way. So there you go. 9 points of damage.
With his last action, Isthin is just going to drive his staff into the swarm, trying to knock them away from his feet and do as much damage as he can. 28 to hit.
28 hits.
14 bludgeoning, please.
Okay, not all of that goes through, but you get the sense that you were bashing handily at these leeches. They are disappearing one by one, and it is now Ao's turn.
Get him, Ao.
So we know they're weak to acid, weak to area, and a little bit resistant to bludgeoning. Is that a decent summary of what we've learned?
Basically, you know they're weak to area and splash and resistant. It seems like they're resistant to physical damage, which is typical of swarms.
Oh, of course.
And are area and splash the same thing?
No, but they're weak to both of them.
To both. Okay. Ao is going to reach in her back, pull out an alchemist's fire, and chuck it at this thing.
I love this. This is so good. What a good move.
Thanks. That is a 36 to hit.
That's a critical hit by a ton. That is a massive critical hit.
Double crit? Are we doing double crits tonight?
Are we doing double crits? Yeah, so go ahead and roll critical damage.
Well, the calculation here is very involved.
Yep.
That looks like it's a total of 18 points of damage.
Okay. So it's 16 fire damage, which the creature's going to take because we're calling these enough on the boat for them to not be resistant to fire damage. And then they take 2 points of splash damage, which they are weak to. So that actually winds up being a total of 23 points of damage.
Hey!
However,
Yeah.
all of you also take splash damage. So all of you will take 2 points of fire splash damage as the alchemist fire explodes, burns all of these leeches up, but then starts singeing your hair, your skin as well.
Oh, this is why I use TKP.
And with that, these leeches are gone. I'm going to hand wave a few different things. We're going to say that bleed damage resolves quickly. I don't think any of you are at risk for being like seriously hurt by this bleed damage. We're going to say that healing happens quickly. We're going to say that in about 10 minutes, all of you are ready to continue moving on as these leeches provide just a momentary speed bump for your exploration of this area. So the four of you are now on this rowboat. These leeches, this bleed damage, this fire damage now overcome quickly. What would you like to do next?
Well, we'd like to row away from the part of the water where the leeches breed.
I like that plan. That's a good plan.
Yeah.
So let's keep
Thirded.
going west.
Do I need to do anything about
plan.
whatever this condition is I've taken that's now ticking down or up? Or am I just...
Yeah, sorry. Hey guys, you are also poisoned. Let's tell the story of what happens with that poison. That poison
Okay.
makes you clumsy, it makes you sick. You're able to shake it off within a matter of seconds. You were fine. I told you we were going to hand wave things like you wouldn't believe.
Mag had just the right herbs in her pouch.
Yeah, and also this poison is a relatively easy poison for your body to process. The way that poisons work is like they last a maximum number of rounds. Like it would have lasted a total of 6 rounds maximum. At the end of each turn, you got the chance to save against it. The moment you saved out of it, you've overcome the poison. So that would have happened very quickly.
Right. Row the boat, Mag.
Yes, Mag rows the boat.
Gently past the crabs.
So you row the boat to the west, and you take a turn down to the south. You paddle a wide left turn and are looking into a smaller lake. There's mist obscuring your vision in front of you. The water smells similarly foul as the water that you've smelled in other places. This lake stretches forward for as far as the eye can see. The mist in front of you obscures your vision, but it extends down to the south. What would you like to do?
Keep rowing further down this area.
Onward.
No one's going to ask about our experience points from that really hard fight. What was that,
Okay.
200, Lars?
That was a trivial fight. You got 20 experience points from it.
Okay, 28
Okay.
nothing. That ain't
Okay.
nothing.
540. That's a
You get
full rotation and a half.
1,000 experience points for beating the most difficult.
Thing in the game. And that's our game.
That's our game. You continue rowing south until eventually the lake gets narrower and narrower, and you find another dock that looks something like the dock that you first saw when you entered this floor. This dock looks like it's been recently repaired. There's another rowboat that is moored to it, and there is a masonry structure that's like built into the natural rock walls of the cavern. The stonework of this structure is creating strange shadows kind of dancing around on the stonework cast by the mist as it drifts around this small building.
Ooh.
At the center of this building, there is a door that is bound in iron.
I think Mag would row up to the dock. So far, most of the areas where we've seen, anywhere to get into or out of this main area of the keep, there's been some sign of one of the Star Watch adventurers that we're looking for. So Mag is, or a giant horrifying creature. So Mag is on guard as soon as we get there and wants to look around.
And
Okay.
as Mag steps up, Trill kind of, not super loudly, but cautiously kind of calls out,
Captain Jansen?
Oh, guys, we should... Mag, hold on 1 second. And AO peeks in the bag. Birdie, there were leeches. Everything's okay. We haven't forgotten you.
Okay.
That was really thoughtful, AO.
Thank you.
High
Thank you,
five.
Ao.
You enjoying the
She
chair,
gives him
Birdie?
like a really hard high five, feeling kind of awkward.
That one stung!
Oh, sorry,
Good
your
job.
hand! Your hand!
Oh, it's not beautiful anymore. You've ruined it.
She lots of gauze.
But you ruined it in the most awesome way possible, so I'm okay with it.
Other side!
Up top!
Then she starts looking for traps.
It then focuses up and
Ao notices that those shadows that seem to have been dancing around the wall have disappeared, it seems.
Uh-oh. Ghosts?
can Trill detect any magic?
Trill casts Detect Magic, and what's the range on Detect Magic at the rank that you're casting it? Do you know?
That's a great question. It's a 30-foot emanation.
Okay. So Trill, as she gets
And I can
closer,
pinpoint the source if there is.
yeah, you can't pinpoint the source because you can't see it, but you get the sense that there's something magical on the other side of this door.
There's some magic used on the other side of that door. Or something magical.
And as Trill makes that comment, Ao sees that the shadows appear again on this wall and then disappear, and you look down and you see that there's a shadow slipping through the water. And a brief moment later, a strange, ghostly figure appears behind the four of you.
Oh, that's a great robe.
Yeah.
I know. That looks
I want
so
that
awesome.
robe. I want to
It
cosplay
looks
that
like
robe.
it looks like a boss of one of the things from before.
And this strange ghost-like figure reaches out its ghostly hands towards you and says, "I've got you." And we'll pick up from there next time.
Awesome.
Oh,
Look at it
living
this way.
I'm so
shadows.
We learned this episode that we can always all jump in the bag of holding and live in there forever. The Roots of Ruin is a
Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy, using trademarks and copyrights owned by Paizo that are covered under that policy. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way, and we are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. All original characters and content in The Roots of Ruin are the property of Tabletop Gold, and all rights are reserved. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. On our website, tabletopgold.com, you can learn more about us and our shows, pick up great merch, and connect to the best online community in all of podcasting. Thanks for listening.